All right. This is going to be the 6-month review of how this toolbox has held up for me. It is the Husky one. I'll link the initial, you could say, unboxing video of this in the description, along with, I'll link the original one. I'll link this in that one too. So anyway, basically we've had this now 6 months. It was July. It's almost the end of December, almost the end of 2020. So overall, this is I use this toolbox almost every day. I do my own stuff. I work on some of my own cars, maybe help out some friends. Nothing too crazy. So I mean, as far as how the toolbox is held up, all of the drawers still work good. I don't even think I've closed this thing once or twice. The light I don't usually have on. I just turned it on for the video. So you can see what's going on here. Most of the time, the best way to say this is usually not this clean and this organized. I just kind of went through and kind of threw everything in. But that was just so it doesn't look like it's such a mess. Because the tools get used every day, they kind of just get thrown in there. So I'm going to pull you off the tripod. We'll do a close-up. And I'm also going to include some of the stuff that I dislike also. So here we go. I mean, you know, for a toolbox, you can see we got some dirt spots. I did kind of get this set up. Sometimes I end up with more of my Milwaukee tools up top. I just upgraded from the Craftsman to the Milwaukee, so now I have the 12 and the 18 charger. I use this old radio, kind of plug it into an iPod for a little bit till I get something else. I haven't really found much use for this. Occasionally I'll stick something up there, but most of the time I usually don't use this magnetic back, so I kind of almost find this useless. Overall, you know, a couple scratches here and there. We have a couple here, like you can see in here. Nothing too detrimental. You know, this stuff here, I catch myself. You know, you can see. You can get fingernail marks on that. I did remove the wood cover that was here. The only thing I noticed that you have to make sure, and this does, it would have been nice if they made it come apart here, whether it was nuts or bolts or something, but I mean, I could probably drill the pop rivets out and then reinstall this onto the wood. Sometimes you have to flip this up because I put my torque wrench back here. I kind of put some of these Milwaukee tools. This is kind of where I'm keeping all of my ratchets for right now, and I'll show you in the next drawer. So, you know, your electric stuff, your impact, cut-off wheel, grinder, you know, sometimes that impact will end up in here. You know, some stuff changes. Sometimes, you know, these will be laid up here for a while. It just, you know, kind of just all depends. Typically, I work out of this drawer, so I have 3/8 and a quarter and some extensions, and pretty much these are all the metric tools with a couple specialized stuff here on the left. So looks like that stuff's actually in here wrong, but everything's in here for that. On the top, I have most of my American size sockets. There's a bunch missing. I usually, just happens, but I threw in my metric impact 6-point here because I don't have deep well 1/2-inch drive 6-point, and I usually end up using my 12-point, which, you know, for some stuff is okay. I wish I had these in a 6-point because of the thin wall. On the impacts, which you usually shouldn't use those. Over here on this side, I kind of just put like some picks. I think this is like a lug remover tool. Works really good. I actually did a video on this. Here are some punches, fuel line tools, you know, gauges, kind of just, you know, threw this stuff in here. Here's to tap out O2 sensors, tire gauge, you know, just kind of minuscule tools that, you know, are kind of like specialized for different things. Next drawer down, all extensions, adapters, swivels, pretty easy, you know, right across from my main drawer. So I just kind of reach over and I hit these. If I need more ratchets, I go into here. Now this drawer here, I kind of wasn't sure where to go with this. I mean, I usually don't use much of this stuff too often, but, you know, temperature gauge, a voltmeter, tape measures, a thing to jump out a starter, tire pressure gauge, fuel vacuum, O2 sensor tool. I mean, these are all kind of like test / diagnostic equipment. So I kind of just threw them in here. Like I said, I don't use this stuff too often, but when you do, you know, this is nice. It's nice and small, voltmeter, just some basic stuff, safety glasses, basic testing tools. Now, in the big drawer, basically, you know, and you need this because you have, you know, large pry bars. So we have all them in here. There's plenty of room. This drawer is plenty long for this large pry bar here. That's a Mac pry bar. I just threw a couple gloves in here just so that they're out of the way. But I have 2 torque wrenches in here. You know, they are Craftsman, but they still do what I need them to do. So that needs put away. Like I said, stuff gets used. Files, picks. You know, I got here's a serpentine tool, a little grabby thing. Some of my larger sockets. Here's my code scanner. Larger sockets for working on 4-wheel drives, you know, some axle stuff, oil filter tool. You know, I kind of just placed this stuff down in here because it seemed like a good logical place to stick this stuff right now, because that's one of those things I don't use too often. AC tool I just kind of threw in here, should be somewhere else. I think this is this one here is a socket set. Yeah, an automotive socket set, came with an impact that I got from Snap-on one time. That stuff's down in here. Let's see if that can turn, I guess. Laying like that. Yep, there we go. In and cleared. Really simple. Like I said, you know, you end up with a couple of these spots. Another thing I noticed that I didn't like was these ends here. They like to come out, you know, and then they catch here, because sometimes you catch on them, so you're kind of pushing these plastic ends back in. That's the only other downfall. Hammer drawer. Actually, you know, this is larger than my other hammer drawer that I had in my Craftsman toolbox. We'll just jump right across. I put all of my wrenches into here. Kind of just tried to organize them out. I got some crow's foots in here. All American. And this is the metric side. Some stuff you use a lot, some stuff you don't. Some stuff's lost. Some stuff's found is the best way to say it. There's not quite enough room. It would have been nice if this drawer was just a little bit wider, or I could have utilized stuff differently as far as organization went. Next drawer down, all screwdrivers. I keep all my flats on one side and my Phillips on the other, so you can kind of see. I mean, some stuff does to get bounced around opening and closing the drawers. I did just pick these up. They were like a Black Friday special from Home Depot, just so I had a couple other scrapers over the Craftsman one that I've had for many years, which seems to work quite well. And then dropping down, I just kind of threw all my pliery, squeezy things into this drawer and just kind of organized it out. I got a couple things missing from here, that's why it looks kind of empty. And like I said, it's usually not this organized. So we just kind of cleaned everything up, threw it in here. You can see what happens. You know, you get a little bit of dust and dirt in here, which, you know, happens. You know, like I said, you get a little bit there. Like I said, these plastic things on the ends sometimes suck. Down here, I have, this one is all full of overflow, Milwaukee tools, new batteries, kind of keep my drills, grease gun, and everything down in here for that stuff. Come over to here, some 3/4 tools, something I don't use that often. I should probably put these somewhere else and then try to utilize this drawer with something that I use more frequently. Maybe get a small box or something to stick these into, which wouldn't be a bad idea. Up here, I have, this is like some small cutters and Phillips head, you know, and this is just, it's just kind of assortment of stuff, some brushes, little specialty tools, plug wire clamps. These are little, I don't even know what they're called, but you know, these are the tools pop window cranks off with, a seal puller, clamps, some snap ring pliers, you know, just different things that aren't used that often that are kind of a specialty tool. What is that back here? Drum brake tools back here, plug tools. Now down here in the bottom, I just kind of, like I said, I was running out of stuff to stick in here to a point. So I have an old style battery charger. I have a couple kits, Craftsman kits down in there. Thread kit, easy out kit. Got some Volkswagen 10-pin Torx down in here. So, I mean, that kind of pretty much does cover what's in here. I wanted to touch off on some other things. I found that this works out pretty good. I have this little vacuum. This one here looked pretty dirty here. You could use compressed air, or I like to use this vacuum. You could just come in here and picks up the dirt pretty easy. There's nothing else really, you know what I mean, that I could say that's bad. We're sticking the flashlight on the side. You know, it seemed pretty resistant here for scratches. These here seem to be pretty decent. Everything, like I said, seems to be holding up. I mean, I roll this around a little bit, but that's not something that happens too often. I figured I'd show you here quick. You know what I mean? You can see, I don't know if you can see in the video, but you can, we got fingerprints on here. It's just something that happens. Just a little bit of window cleaner, and you can wipe everything right off. Works out pretty good. The shiny stuff seems to wipe off a little bit better than the well, I don't know what you would call this. It's like a wrinkle coat kind of. Like I said, here you go. There was like some dirt or grease right there. But, you know, that happens when you work on a car and you're reaching out. These are the only thing. I'm sure that this happened maybe, you know, a tool sticking out, or you just catch the edge of it when you're trying to get in here quick. See if this comes off over here. So that one's kind of more permanent. Now we have these here that I did with my finger. Kind of brushing it. We actually have a chip here in that coating. Yep, there you go. So, I mean, it does seem to clean up pretty easy. Some stuff does not clean off so well. I don't know if you would use like maybe like a automotive wax cleaner. You might be able to get some of this stuff a little bit cleaner, but you can see the difference between where I just cleaned and these handles over here, you know, where there's still some greasy spots. The USB and stuff seems to work out really well. Plug my phone in. I usually have an iPod over here plugged in. You know, everything seems to, I think that's a little bit of anti-seize right there. Let's see how that cleans off. Oh, there we go. Just need to hit it a little bit more. So, I mean, that stuff, like I said, cleans up pretty good. I didn't really try cleaning off any of this, so we can see what happens. Right here. I mean, this is some foaming glass cleaner, so I don't know how this is going to work. You can see we got a lot of dirt. It'll actually pull it up, look. So, I mean, you could clean, you could just, you know what I mean, how much you want to clean or how much you want to do. I did wipe this down a couple times. I did vacuum out some of the stuff a little bit. You know, I don't think I did vacuum this one out before. Usually, sometimes I'll blow my tool drawers out, and that stuff seems to work out pretty good. I did get a little bit of, there was a little bit of wax here from when I buffed one time, so that's on here. You can see that. But I mean, overall, you know, this one here has actually got a dent. There's another scrape from coming in and out with tools. These here, I mean, they feel nice. Here's another dent. They, like I said, they feel nice. The drawers seem to hold up really well. Like I said, I'm not happy about how, like, it gets these dents and these chips into this just by simple bumps. And the fact that these plastic things, you know what I mean? If you have this out and you bump into it, like, see how easy that one? It's kind of just like worn out, like it doesn't want to stay in now. So, you know, you could bump into that. I'm sure this one here looks like it did have something bump into it. You know, because sometimes I'll do motors, and where this is in relativity to this car, you know, sometimes this is a little tight and you're trying to get in here and pull that out. So something got bumped there. So that's probably, like I said, the worst and the best, and how this toolbox is faring out now over basically pretty much a 6-month period. I did have, you know, the lights from these did draw bugs in the summertime where I'm at. So I ended up with a whole bunch of little gnats up in here. You can kind of see there's a couple in here I didn't get vacuumed out. Back in here, yep, see them? So, but I mean, other than that, for the money, still a great performing toolbox. So that'll pretty much conclude everything here. But pretty much, this is still a pretty well-performing toolbox for the cost over some of the expensive stuff. I can't say anything for the locking mechanisms holding up because I don't lock it. Really don't have the need to because I'm the only person in here, and it's